All right, let's talk about a huge, fundamental shift in how businesses really win today. We're calling it the supply chain revolution. So let's just get right to it. How does a company actually win in today's world? I mean, really win. Is it just about having the coolest product, the biggest, baddest factory, or maybe the smartest people in the room? Well, you might think so, but the real answer? It's a little different. Okay, check this out. This is a look at the iPhone's value chain. Yeah, I know, the text is in Spanish, but don't worry about that. Just look at the arrows. You've got stuff coming from Korea, Germany, China, all over the place. And that is Apple's real magic. It's not just that they design a great phone, it's that they are masters at conducting this massive global orchestra. This picture says it all, really. The game has changed. You're not just competing as a company anymore. You're competing as a supply chain. So this is a whole new competitive battlefield. The old rules, they just don't apply anymore. And, to really get how we got here, just look at how things have evolved. Back in the day, winning meant owning stuff. Think Ford and their gigantic factories. Then it shifted. Winning was about owning a special skill, a capability, like Microsoft with software. But now it's a totally different game. The winners, the real winners, are the ones who are brilliant at leveraging what other people do best. Okay, so if you want to build one of these winning supply chains, where do you even start? Well, it actually starts way earlier than you might think. It begins with the product itself. We're talking about designing for agility, baking that flexibility right into its DNA from the get-go. And the secret sauce for that? It's something called modular design. Seriously, just think about Lego bricks. You're not inventing a whole new toy every time. You're just taking these standard interchangeable blocks and snapping them together in new ways. It sounds simple, but trust me, this one idea changes everything. The car industry really figured this out early on. Again, don't worry about the Spanish here. The point is what they achieved. Shorter development times, way simpler manufacturing, and, of course, lower costs. They could build a sedan, an SUV, and a hatchback all on the same basic platform. So you get all this variety without having to, literally reinvent the wheel each time. It's just genius. But here's the really crucial part. This whole modular idea, it's not just for cars or making factories run better. It's the key. It's what unlocks the door to our next big idea, strategic outsourcing. It makes it not just a thing you can do, but a ridiculously powerful weapon. Right, so because you can now break your product into these neat little modules, it leads you to this incredible strategy, the power of focus. And yeah, it sounds a little crazy, but it's all about winning by doing less. We're talking about outsourcing, or tercerisation as it says here. But look, we've got to be clear. This is not just about finding someone cheaper to do the work. No way. This is a strategic move. It's about looking at your business and saying, what are we absolutely, without a doubt, the best in the world at? And then letting other experts handle the rest. And this quote about Nike, it just nails it. Think about it. Does Nike own factories that make shoes? Nope. Why not? Because their real strength, their magic, isn't stitching leather. It's building a brand, creating amazing designs, telling a story. They pour every ounce of their energy into that, and they let trusted partners handle the manufacturing. And it's not just Nike. Companies like Dell are absolute pros at this. You see the concepts here? It's all about that evolution towards leveraging others' skills. They aren't in the business of making computer chips or sneakers. They're in the business of brand, customer relationships, and design. They are conductors of a global orchestra of specialists, which lets them stay super nimble and not get bogged down by owning tons of physical stuff. Okay, but let's be real. Conducting an orchestra like that isn't easy. It gets complicated. And that brings us to the next piece of the puzzle, managing your partners. Because here's the thing, not all of them are the same. So put yourself in their shoes. You've got this huge network of suppliers, hundreds of them maybe. How on earth do you manage all that? Do you just use the same approach for everyone? The answer is a hard no. Luckily, you don't have to guess. There's an amazing tool for this, and it's called the Krejcilage Matrix. It might look a little academic, but I promise you, it's a super practical way to bring some order to the chaos and think strategically about everything you buy. Here's how it works. It's basically a grid with two questions. First, how important is this thing to my business? And second, how risky is it to get? So, something that's super important and high risk, like the engine for a car, that's a strategic partner. You treat them like gold. You build a real alliance. But what about something that's important but easy to get, like tires? That's a leveraged item. You can shop around and use your buying power. This simple four-box grid literally tells you how to manage every single relationship. So what you end up with are two totally different kinds of relationships. On one side, you have the transactional, competitive ones. This is for your basic stuff, and it's all about getting the best price. But on the other side, for those critical partners, it has to be a true collaboration. It's not about haggling over pennies, it's about building long-term value together. And partnership isn't just a buzzword. A real collaborative partnership is built on a foundation of trust. And that trust comes from three key things you see here: being totally transparent with information, sharing both the risks and the rewards, and even developing new things together. It's deep. Okay, let's recap. We've designed our products to be agile, we've laser-focused on what we do best, and we've built a smart strategic network of partners. So, what's the big payoff for all this work? Well, this is the moment your supply chain stops being just a cost on a spreadsheet and transforms into your most powerful competitive weapon. And the secret to making it all click? It's all about getting everyone's incentives lined up. This quote from Harvard gets it exactly right. When the system is set up so that everybody in the chain wins, when the chain wins, that's when the magic happens. The whole thing just becomes unstoppable. And if you need a reason why the C-suite should care about this, here it is. This is the financial knockout punch. It's called the purchasing multiplier effect. Just look at this graph. See how that line goes almost vertical as the profit margin gets tighter? This is the secret reason why getting your supply chain right has such a mind-blowing impact on the bottom line. Let's put some real numbers on that to make it sink in. Imagine your company runs on a 5% profit margin, okay? For every single dollar you save in purchasing just $1, it has the same impact on your profit as going out and generating $20 in brand new sales. Think about that for a second. Saving a buck is like making 20 bucks. That is some serious leverage. So that's really the whole story here. When you get those three things working together in harmony, that modular design, that strategic focus, and that smart partner management, your supply chain completely transforms. It's not just about logistics anymore. It becomes your number one tool for winning in the market. And so that leaves us with one last question, a question for you to think about. When you look at your company or any company you follow, is its supply chain just another cost to be managed? Or is it the secret weapon, the hidden engine that's actually driving all of its success?